celebrities present here. We are deeply privileged to have your gracious presence. The Business Excellence Summit, a flagship event of Xavier Institute of Management, XIM University, Bhubaneswar, is a platform where academia meets industry to exchange knowledge, share experiences, and inspire the next generation of leaders. The theme for this year, Leading at the Edge from Uncertainties to Impact, highlights the evolving realities of leadership in today's dynamic world. It seeks to encourage meaningful conversations on how leaders can transform uncertainty into opportunities for lasting impact. To commence this auspicious occasion, I would invite respected Father Registrar, Chief Finance Officer and the Deputy Registrar, Dean of Academics Professor Viswasarup Mishra, Professor G.V. Ramana, and our esteemed keynote speaker, Mr. Anand Bharadwaj, to kindly light the inaugural lamp, a symbol of wisdom, knowledge, and enlightenment. Now, we would like to felicitate our dignitaries with a token of appreciation. To formally commence today's proceedings, I take this opportunity to invite the Dean of Academics, Professor Viswasarup Mishra, to deliver the welcome address and share his reflections with us.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Reverend Father Antonira, our Registrar, Father Arokya Das, CFO, XIM University, Mr. Anand Bharadwaj, the keynote speaker for the first session, invited guests, faculty members, my dear students. It is indeed a matter of privilege for me to welcome you to the 7th edition of Business Excellence Summit, which is the flagship event organized by the students in Xavier Institute of Management, XIM University. Well, The theme for this year's summit is leading at the edge from uncertainty to impact. This theme is thought-provoking and it forces us to think what is going to be the shape of future. And it's a fact that future is uncertain and technology has only fast-paced uncertainty. And I would like to share some of my reflections on this theme. I would begin by posing a question. Suppose you are asked to play a game or to take part in a lottery, and the lottery is you have to choose one ball from a bag of balls of different colors. And the first option is you are given the information that you will get a lakh rupees if you choose a red ball from a bag which contains 9 blue balls and 1 red ball. And the second option is you can choose or you can opt to choose from a bag which contains 100 balls, out of which 7 are red balls and 93 are blue. Now, when posed with this, and the same thing, if you happen to draw a red ball, you will get 1 lakh rupees. And when given this choice, people tend to, we can do an experiment here also, but given the paucity of time and the nature of the event, I will just share what are the findings from this kind of an experiment. And generally, people prefer to choose from the second bag. And this choice exercise is defying probability. The probability of getting a red ball from the first bag was 10%, whereas it is only 7% in case of the second. But when asked why they do why do they make such a choice, people respond that they feel they control of things because there are 7 balls and there is a chance of getting 1 red out of 7 is much higher. Now, this behavior is very well documented in the behavioral literature, that this is nothing but a reflection of what is known as the illusion of control bias. And as human beings and as individuals, as in companies, we all have a deep preference for certainty and control. Certainty, stability, and control. Now, anything when you are desiring for control, you tend to ignore the factual evidence, and the bias is generally described as the tendency for people to make their choice or to feel that they have control over events which are random in nature. They feel that they have control over events which are random in nature. And this bias is most prevalent when you are at the peak of your success, be it as an individual or as an organization. And the biggest barrier to face uncertainty is this bias coupled with another bias which is called the overconfidence bias. And this bias leads us to think that we are in control of things, but maybe actually we could be under control of things. We feel that we can control human beings, even nature we can also control. But it could be just the other way around. So this is the behavior of one group of people and majority of the people. But there is another group of people who seem to be overawed by the negatives of uncertainty. Now, what is the way forward? Should we be overconfident or we should feel miserable? The way forward to me is that it all depends on how well prepared we are. We neither need to be overwhelmed with confidence or dissatisfied with misery. We need to be prepared never what is going to come. And it's a fact that future is uncertain, but however uncertain it may be and however fast-paced it may be, it is never that things change overnight. And this theme, the leading at the edge, as for me is a metaphor. And I look at it as from the dimension of time. When we say that things are fast changing and we need to be prepared, we don't have time, actually that is not correct. Except the black swan events, we have time to respond. Question is how well we have prepared ourselves. Take the example of GST. GST was in the talks for almost 11 years, starting from 2006, before it became a law in 2017. And this rate rationalization which has been talked about, that also continued for almost 3-4 years. So if you are in business, you knew that what is going to come. Are you prepared for that? How well you have prepared yourself to meet the upcoming changes? And we have tools like stress testing, scenario building, which actually can be used to use these uncertainties or transform these uncertainties into competitive advantage. And so I don't see that it's really a problem, but rather it is our preparedness to face the problem. Challenges will be always there. And I would like to conclude with a note that we are living in vulnerable times. That's a fact. And we all want success. Success as individuals, success as an organization, success as a society. Now, what will help us to be successful in navigating this uncertainty? And I put it as under 7 A's. Wherever you are, whatever place you are starting, it starts with an aspiration. And an aspiration is not sufficient. You need to assess the situation where you are. What is the environment in which I am operating? What are the changes? And aspiration followed by assessing the situation, the second A. Then comes the most important A, act. Aspiring, assessing, but what needs to be done? Once you have decided, after assessing, you need to act. And this aspiration, assess, act will lead you to achieve. And once you achieve, the next is again you start the process so as to accelerate. So these are the 5 A's. Aspire, assess, act, achieve, and accelerate. But we have to be mindful of the uncertainties, and for navigating those uncertainties, you need to another A's. One is adaptability and another is agility. That's nothing but resilience, some people say, but you need to be adaptable because the situation will not remain the same when you start it. And I tell to students, I think in your inauguration time, I said, you all have come from as saplings from different nurseries and have been implanted there or here. And your success will depend on how you adapt to this ecosystem. And the ecosystem is always evolving. So how we adapt and achieve. So these 7 A's we should be mindful of. And if we are taking cognizance of these 7 A's, I should look at leading at the edge as an opportunity to convert uncertainty into impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful and encouraging address. The Business Excellence Summit has consistently served as a platform for thoughtful discourse and impactful dialogue. In keeping with this tradition, we are proud to present the inaugural edition of Echoes, the first official magazine of the Business Excellence Summit and the inaugural business magazine of Xavier Institute of Management, XIM University, Bhubaneswar, themed Voices at the Edge, as it reflects on this year's theme, Leading at the Edge, from Uncertainty to Impact. This platform showcases thought-provoking articles by students reflecting their perspectives on contemporary business challenges and their vision as the managers for tomorrow. To mark this special occasion, I would like to invite Registrar Father S. Anthony Raj S.J. and Chief Finance Officer and Deputy Registrar Dr. Father V. Arokyadas S.J. on the stage to launch the magazine. I would also take this opportunity to invite Registrar Father S. Anthony Raj S.J. gathering and share a few words of wisdom and insight with us.
Respected Professor Vishwaswarup Mishra, Dean, Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar, XIM University, respected Anand Bhattwaj, the keynote speaker of the day, respected Dr. Father Arokyadas S.J., Chief Finance Officer, XIM University, respected Professor D.V. Ramana, faculty colleagues, invited guests, friends from the media, and my dear friends. At the outset, let me congratulate and place my gratitude to the Student Executive Council of Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar, led by Shri Rupani and his entire team, and the core team of the Business Excellence Summit for yet another edition, the 7th one of Business Excellence Summit. I also welcome in the name of Reverend Father Vice Chancellor, who is not able to be present with us today. I relay his best wishes and greetings for the success of this summit. Friends, we have 2 days of celebration, 2 keynote speakers, 2 panels each day. And I wish this summit the very best, the best of conversations. Because the learning curve from this summit is going to be huge. for every one of us. And I thank, in the name of the university, all those who have taken time out, the keynote speakers and the panelists, for giving us the time. Time is a huge, huge gift. Though we have started late, we were supposed to start at 8:30. We all waited. And I'm sure we'll make use of the 2 days to the optimum. It was 2:30 in the morning, 2:30 a.m., a time very familiar to the business schools because we don't sleep at that time, right? 2:30 a.m. 5th of January 1922. Dr. Alex Macklin is telling Shackleton, Ernest Shackleton, go slow, take it easy. Go slow, take it easy. And then Ernest Shackleton, his friend, aboard the Quest, says, you are always wanting me, Dr. Alex, to give up something. You are always asking me to give up, give up, give up. What do you want me to do now? What do I give up now? Immediately after that, Ernest Shackleton has a massive heart attack and he dies. Who is this Ernest Shackleton? Any idea? Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Morning, sir. I'm Shubhir Viracharya from the XIMB MBA BM Batch of 2025-27. Ernest Shackleton is a legendary explorer and he led some famous expeditions to both poles of the earth. And he's renowned as one of the most daring explorers the world has ever seen.
Good. Very good. Big round of applause. 4 expeditions to South Pole. Did Ernest Shackleton reach the South Pole? No. He never reached the South Pole. But he persisted, persevered. I mean, given the time, he was just 47 years old, 1874 to 1922. He dies in 1922. I gave the time and the date. And he tried. Anglo-Irish explorer that he was, Antarctic explorations. He never reached the South Pole, but he did not give up. Now it is based on Ernest Shackleton, his explorations, his leadership style, that Dennis N.T. Perkins writes this book, the theme of our summit, Leading at the Edge. Leading at the Edge, the book by Dennis N.T. Perkins. We have given ourselves the sub-theme. We explained it, what it means to us here and now, from uncertainty to impact. And now, Shackleton's life has been filmed. There are 2 films on him. There is a mini-series on him. See it at your leisure later. Why this theme at all for our summit? Friends, we are living in perma-crisis, in a post-syndemic world. As it is, the pandemic was a syndemic. It brought various crises together. And by 2022, the Collins English Dictionary declared perma-crisis as the word of the year. And within 3 years now, this word perma-crisis, permanent crisis, has gained momentum. Now, to explain the crisis at all levels, in all spheres, starting with the personal, to the institutional, to the organizational, crisis in leadership, geopolitical crisis, you name them. To explain these, we have for us, I'm sure all of us are aware, the VUCA and the BANI, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, brittle, anxiety-ridden, non-linear, incomprehensible. In order to understand the perma crisis in which we situate ourselves, plagued as we are by these various crises, which is a seemingly unending period of uncertainty, instability, with overlapping challenges, we came up with these two frameworks. Whereas Barney focuses on brittle, anxious, non-linear, incomprehensible aspects, meaning delving into the internal dynamics, providing a nuanced understanding of organizational challenges. VUCA, on the other hand, emphasizes the external environment's volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So, just before COVID and post-COVID, these two frameworks sort of, we could analyze both the internal dynamics and what happens external, through these frameworks. Now we have VUCA, BANI, and AI. It is within this context we have to locate our summit, focusing, leading at the edge from uncertainty to impact, focusing specifically on the edges of the 4 themes that you have given to yourself in the summit: decision, execution, innovation, and identity. May our meaningful conversations in the course of these 2 days enable us to lead at the edge so that we become agile, stable, and agile, and that our organizations become stable and agile. God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Father, for your gracious words and also for formally launching this year's edition of the BES Master. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Father V. Arukyadas SJ, Chief Finance Officer and Deputy Registrar, to address the gathering and share his thoughts with us.
The only thing that makes life possible is permanent, intolerable uncertainty, not knowing what comes next. Reverend Father S. Raj, Registrar of Exile University, Professor B.S. Visra, Dean Academics, distinguished keynote speaker, Mr. Anand Bharadwaj, Professor D.V. Ramana, respected faculty and staff and dear students. It gives me immense joy to be part of this inaugural ceremony of BES 2025. We live in a world of surmise, of mystery, of uncertainty. The theme chosen for BES 25, leading at the edge from uncertainty to impact, is very apt and appropriate for the time. Indeed, a deep dive into the theme will trigger us, not only the students as well as those who are part of this Business Excellence Summit, to reflect, as was mentioned by the Registrar, on the edge of decision, edge of execution, edge of innovation, and edge of identity. No more the edges at the periphery, but it is now the center. In today's scenario, the edge has become the center, shaped by rapid innovations, shifting markets, and urgent social and environmental priorities. I am sure that all of us will enjoy the deliberations and discussions on varied subtopics of the theme as we proceed ahead. If there is one thing that is certain in business, it is uncertainty. I wish all the organizing committee of BES for a wonderful execution of the plan starting from the inauguration. I am also grateful to the different committee members of students, particularly the CAS committee, who worked to get all the speakers with the SEC members, the Dean's office, and illuminatis who brought the media house here and who will be connecting with the media partners. I am also grateful to all other committee members. There are 20 committees we have. All will be giving different programs part of this BS in 2025 to the students, a kind of competitions. Even the sports club will be giving some kind of events for the students. All these events are meant for you students. Today and tomorrow, both days are a learning process. Whatever you heard from the professors in the classroom, you will have different view from the industry perspective. This Business Excellence Summit is not only as a periodical or annual event, but to make you think beyond the classroom, what you get in the classroom, and prepare yourself for a better leaders. I also grateful to all the admin team for making all the arrangements. Our staff members are very cooperative for any type of activities that takes place in this campus, whether it is student-driven activities or it is admin-driven activities. So I am grateful to them too. I am also grateful that the media people will flash out all the good things that is happening on this campus. So once again, I wish you all the best. The students, please make use of these 2 days to learn more things from practical field, that is industry. May God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Father, for your thoughtful and encouraging address. We are extremely grateful for your continued support and guidance. Now, I would like to request Ramana Sir to present a token of appreciation to Registrar Father S. Anthony Raj SJ. Registrar, V. Arokyadas SJ. And the Dean of Academics, Professor Viswasarupatra. I would request the audience to be seated while Father Registrar, Father Deputy Registrar, and Dean Academics, Professor Viswasarupatra, take their seats. And now, with immense pride, it is my privilege to introduce to you our guest of honor, a visionary leader who has been shaping the world of AI, analytics, and business transformation on a global scale, Mr. Anand Bharadwaj. A proud alumnus of Xavier Institute of Management, XIM University, Inauguration, batch of 1997, he completed his MBA with a specialization in marketing, finance, and operations. During his time at XIMB, he also led Maxim, the Marketing Association of XIMB, as its coordinator, a particularly exciting detail for all of us here today. He earned his bachelor's in mechanical engineering from Virgin College of Engineering, where he was recognized as the best all-round student and captained the college lawn-tennis team, truly an all-rounder. His passion for lifelong learning later took him to global institutions like London Business School, Carnegie University, and Andrew Sobel Advisors. Mr. Bharadwaj currently serves as the head of growth for North America, Tiger Analytics, a global leader in AI and advanced analytics solutions. Prior to taking on the global mandate, he was instrumental in driving nearly 85% of the company's business. Under his leadership, Tiger Analytics has scaled 175x in a decade and received accolades from Deloitte Gartner as one of the fastest growing and most innovative AI firms. He has represented at global forums like the World Summit AI in Amsterdam and also served as a Deep Tech Council member at NASCOM, advancing India's role in deep tech innovation. Before Tiger Analytics, he began his career at Ingram Micro and built a stellar journey across IBM, Cognizant, and Mu Sigma. At Cognizant, he strengthened European consulting and digital initiatives. At IBM, he led client-centric transformation and analytics strategy. And at Mu Sigma, he built strong client partnerships and embedded data-driven decision-making. His impact has consistently gone beyond metrics, shaping people, relationships, and transformation at scale. So, your journey from being a student leader at XIMB to spearheading growth at a global AI powerhouse is nothing short of inspiring. We are honored to welcome you back to this very campus that you once created memories in. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please join me in extending a warm and grand welcome to our guest of honor, Mr. Anand Bharadwaj. Now, I would like to hand over the session to our moderator, Professor D.V. Ramana, an eminent academic and one of the most respected voices in the field of accounting at Xavier Institute of Management, Inauguration.
Thank you very much.
Good morning to all of you, and it's wonderful to see Anand back. AB back at XI. AB means I'm talking about Anand Bharadwaj, okay? So, the two team that is leading at the edge, both Professor Mishra, our dean, and Father Registrar, have given a very large picture and a canvas which I'm sure we are going to discuss, spend time next 2 days. I don't want to see outside the world. For me, the world is exciting. So whether I see the topic of leading at the edge or the Business Excellence Summit, I normally think about our own university. So for me, the leading at edge is about the courage to act, the foresight to recognize the potential where others see risk. In the last 37 years of exile, I'll just pull up 3 important persons and 3 important changes which have happened. It's nothing less than leading at the edge. One was Father D'Souza. When we set up this XIMB, Orissa was itself in such a bad condition. And when somebody thought about setting up XIMB in the state of Orissa, they thought industry was not there, business is not there. What is business school is going to do? And you can see that vision of Father Romuald D'Souza today. Then another big twist came when Father Bogart walked in. Father Bogart made business students to see something which till then we were not so much bothered about, the rural world, the social implications of the business world. So the another leader that I have witnessed is Father Bogart. And for quite some time, we were successful, doing extremely well as a standalone business school. Then Father P.T. Joseph took another important step forward, that was thinking about the university. So these are, for me, these are definitely an example of leadership at the edge, leading at the edge. The other interesting thing about BES, when Anand asked me, there was BES there when I was a student. It was not there actually. At the time, we were at INVACs, Maxims, and other activities. But BES, one of the interesting things that has actually become a characteristic of leading at edge. We only invite our own leaders, the leaders which have actually taken shape at exam. So our students and the people who created them, our professors and the institute. It's a wonderful integration, a convergence of 3 important actors and players, our alum, professors, and the institute itself. So I was just trying to think after talking to Anand about BES and the entire event, like the way we call only alum, partly thanks to Francis' decision of inviting our alum. I said, how can I explain that? This nice combination of alum, professors, and exile. No wonder I fall back on my favorite poet, Khalil Gibran. And it is timeless masterpiece of the prophet. So he did not speak about leadership, but he talked about larger things. The prophet delivers a profound wisdom about leadership that resonates extremely well with the topic that is leading at the edge. He said, the archer bends the bow with strength and vision. The archer bends the bow with strength and vision, so that the arrows can fly swift and far, while the bow remains strong and steady. So 3 things Gibran has mentioned. The archer, the bow, and the arrows. So after talking to Anand and reflecting on his own journey, I could see a meaning of Khalil Gibran's poem and actually what is happening at exam. For me, the arrows, our leaders which have created here, which have actually gone into the world, and they all made their own space. The archer are the professors, who have actually made an effort to put pressure on the bow to release. And no wonder we have leaders outside this institute like Anand and many other speakers who are going to. And the archer has equal respect for both the bow and the arrows. For me, the bow is the institute. The archer bends the bow and releases the arrows. And this is a classic interpretation. In my view, I thought I can dedicate this to the leading at the edge. On this note, I invite Anand to BES 25 and deliver his inaugural key address. Anand, with your experience, insight, stories, we aim to explore what it truly means to lead at the edge. Over to you. Plan for 40 minutes deliberation presentation by yours. Then we'll open for Q&A. Okay?
Hello, can everyone hear me clearly? Yes. So, honorable fathers, respected faculty, and dear friends, thank you. It's a great honor for any student walking through the gates to come here on the stage as a keynote speaker is a dream. And I can't thank all of you enough for making this dream happen. I'm very, very thankful, very, very grateful. So today I want to keep it simple and just want to share a few stories. Right? I'll try and connect those stories to messages which link to the theme of leading at the edge. Right? And before I get to the stories, one very serious message. Please don't take me too seriously. Again, please don't take me too seriously, because these stories are meant to make you think for yourself. And that's one big important message I give whenever anybody comes to me for career guidance. That your career is your responsibility. You can listen to my ideas, but think for yourself and see how it works for you. Right? So let's get going. Let's imagine we are in a time balloon, and we go back to June 1995. We are in Mumbai. There's a 1 BHK, and I'm there. I just finished my engineering. I was one of the university toppers in my college. I got a couple of very good engineering jobs, and I was looking forward to work as an engineer. My father said, all good students are doing MBA, so you should at least write CAT. So I had written CAT, and I had not got any calls. So I was looking forward to going ahead and joining my engineering jobs. When the phone rang, it was Professor Shrikant Das from XIMB, and my mother picked up and he said,
your son has just made it to the waiting list. You have 3 days to decide and come over and join the institute. So my mother was very clear that you have to study, right? She felt that if I start working, I won't take my studies seriously. So she said I should study. So she called up my father, who was in office, and said he's got through MBA admission and exam, he should go. So my father said, okay, there's a problem. We were a middle class family, and my sister was due to do her medicine, and he had spent some money on my engineering, and he had some other loans which he had just about, he was clearing. He told my mother, we don't have enough money to send him to exam. We just don't have the bank balance. So my mother said, no way, I was just telling father that I'm originally from Tamil Nadu, so my mother's from Gangaikonda in Tamil. So she was very, very clear, I have to study. So my father said, okay, let me see what to do. So he called up some close relatives. They said he's got a good job, let him earn and let him fund himself. Right? So he tried calling a lot of people because he just didn't have a bank balance. And there was no money coming. And he told my mother, I don't know what to do. So she said, no, he has to go. So he casually called up a friend of his who was in Muscat. And a little bit of backstory to that. That friend was actually the security in our society in Bombay. He had come from Kerala and he worked for a couple of years, worked very hard, very sincere person. And he wanted to go to Muscat. And so he said he tried a lot to get money when he wanted. And my father was the only one who trusted him and gave him something like, I don't know what, 6,000-7,000 rupees in 1983, right? And it was, I don't know what you call an investment, a friendship, essentially, there was no guarantee the money is going to come back, because he was going to Muscat to Mumbai. You never know what's going to happen. And he did well. The security guard became, probably a senior guy, and then finally became a foreman. He was doing reasonably well in Muscat. And my father was just telling him as a friend that, see, this is a bit of a challenge that I have. So he said, sir, you made my life, here's a blank check. And that's how I came to exam. Right? So, does everybody here know the names of the security guard at the gate? Joseph Eagle and Abhiram Bhatta. Right? So, the key message of this story is that be very humble. In the age of uncertainty, I'm going to talk about a few foundational principles that in any age you'll do very well. Right? The security guard at the gate could be funding somebody's education, and then somebody could be talking in front of you. Right? The other thing is, if you look at my father's thing there, it was a selfless investment. What do we call it? So when you make investments, the typical MBA looks at ROI. Whereas, think of selflessness there, right? Think of doing something which may not benefit you at all, probably not even in this whole life, right? Coming back to humility, so I'm talking about two things here, humility and selflessness. Coming back to humility, I was in San Francisco a couple of months back, and I was in the middle of an AI conference, and suddenly I found the word MCP, right? And I found that's the next big thing which is viral in AI. And I was wondering, what is an MCP? And I'm in the middle of an AI consulting business in Tiger Analytics, and I don't know what this is. I immediately Googled it, its model context protocol. I read a lot about it. What I quickly realized is if I'm not humble enough to understand that I don't know everything, I know a few things but I have to learn much more, then you're going to really struggle in this world full of uncertainty. The first principle there is be very humble that you know a few things, but there are millions of things that you don't know. Marcus Aurelius, the famous Roman emperor, said the worst intelligence in the world is comfort. Right? Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, says the best advice he can give to college students, children, is may you struggle. May you struggle. Because unless you struggle, you'll not learn, right? So, just wanted to give you that perspective that, I hope that story sort of gave you a feel that, being humble, being selfless can take you, places. So let me go to the next story. We talked about that value, right? So now we go to Bangalore. It's 2004, right? I have changed my job from Ingram Micro to IBM. In about 7 years, I've increased my salary 5 times. Very, very aggressive, typical MBA out of college, right? I want to make more money, work hard, make it ethically, right? And I was very, very serious about meeting my KPIs, meeting my incentives. I was in sales, right? Doing very, very well. And there was a very senior person in the IBM office in Bangalore. He called me aside and he said, young man, I'm still young, but I was younger then. I want to ask you something. Do you have a goal? Do you have a financial goal in your life? Right? You seem so aggressive, you want to do things. Do you have a financial goal? So I just told him I don't want to be middle class, I want to be rich. I want to work hard, right? Make the money the right way and make a big impact. I want to give back to society, I want to make a big impact. His name was Bill Rutledge. At that time, I was, as I said, young and a bit more brash. So I said, Bill, do you have a goal? So Bill said, yes, I had a goal. So I said, what was your goal? And Bill said, he was from Australia. He said, I want to buy an island of Australia. So I was shocked. I was coming at 1 BHK in Mumbai, where buying a 2 BHK was a big deal. And this person has gone and bought an island, right? So I said, Bill, tell me more. How did you do this? And for all of you worried about placements, about jobs, about first salaries, so I was the guy with the highest salary on campus during my placements, right? And I had made 5 times more in 7 years when I was talking to Bill, right? Bill said, see, in Australia till the age of 35, they don't take life seriously. So he was just having a good time. And he started thinking, what do I want to do in life, And he had this passion, saying, I want to go and buy this island. So he had identified some island of Australia. He said, I want to buy that island. And he realized with whatever skills he had, whatever degrees he had, whatever education he had, he right? And he wanted to obviously buy it ethically, right? Doing all legal means. And he said, how do I do this? So clearly he needs to improve his skills. And only by improving his skills he's going to get paid more, right? So he realized that one of his interest areas was building data centers. This was very early days, the data centers were coming up. And so he started reading up about data centers. Remember, this is not a fancy person like one of you with fancy degrees. It was some a person with reasonable qualifications in Australia. He started reading up. Then he started talking to people who were in that business, right? In that profession. He started taking up contract jobs as a side hustle where he could learn. Eventually, he left his proper job and joined the job at a lower salary so that he could learn how to build data centers, right? And at the age of 55, he bought that idea, right? And he said, and he was, in Bangalore at that time. He was one of the top 5 experts in the world on how to set up data centers in remote places, right? So he said, my purpose in life was to buy that island, very honest, right? And I wanted to do something exciting in that process. So I asked him, this seems too rosy. I'm sure you've gone through some struggles. So he gave me one framework, which I would call the SWOT SCA framework, right? SWOT you all know, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. He said, do that for yourself, not just for a company, but do that for yourself. Write it down. Right? Write down what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your opportunities, what are your threats, and then based on that, write down your SCA, which is your sustainable competitive advantage. What's that one thing or 2 things or 3 things which is so amazing about you that nobody else in the world could beat you with that, right? And something which you're excited about doing, and which something will make you money. So I started writing that. This 2004 is what I'm talking about. And even today, when I look at that document of my SWOT, it's not very different. My weaknesses are still there, but I've amplified my strengths. I've tried to control some of these weaknesses, but I've amplified my strengths significantly. And it has helped me without quoting figures. It has certainly helped. It's made a huge difference. And most importantly, like I was talking to Professor Godran sir, who was the god of marketing at our time. He says, you seem to be enjoying your job, right? And for me, this is not just a job, this is something which I'm genuinely excited. So like today, I'm genuinely happy I'm here. I'm very honored that Professor Ramana and all of you called me here to listen to me on this. So this is the second message I want to share. The sense of purpose, right? I think Anirudh was asking me, how do you find your purpose in life, right? So this example was a bit of a materialistic example, but you need not have a materialistic goal, but then write down your goals and follow it through, and you'll have to make some sacrifices. Like this person had a job which was lower paying, so that he could buy that island, right? Now, along with that, I would say there's another subtle thing which I mentioned heavily is about networking, right? When you join Harvard, so when I was in Boston, I did a tour of the Harvard University. The second year student took me around Harvard University, and I asked him, what kind of assignments do they give you? He said, one of the first assignments they give you at Harvard is they ask you to name your icon, right? So, who's your icon? Somebody who really look up to. Ratan Tata. Can you name somebody else in the line? Sorry? Azim Premji sir. Okay. So the first assignment you will get if you are in Harvard is to try and either make a call or meet or at least get an email response from Professor or Sir Azim Premji before you leave the institute, right? So the point here is don't be scared of networking, right? If you want to achieve your goals, you have to network for the right reasons, right? Whether you call people, you meet people, you chat with them, WhatsApp them, you email them, you have to be mad at networking, right? For you to be serious about your purpose. And that is something which I can see the organizing committee and all of you seem to be already pretty good at. But You have how many months to leave XIMB? 8 months. So try and do that. I'll ask you for your leave, whether you get a response from Aditya. And I'll not introduce you. Not that I know. Yeah. So I think that's the networking point is there. So I talked about selflessness. I talked about humility. I talked about purpose. Right? And you must be wondering, he's talking about age of uncertainty, and why is he talking about all this? Very simply, if you follow some of these principles, whether it is age of uncertainty or age of certainty, you will do well. You will totally transform yourself. The third one, let's go to Copenhagen, right? This was 10th of August 2011. It was my birthday. And I was in hospital. A lot of tubes around, right? And it was a pretty gloomy scene. I was looking out of the hospital, and my father called me, and he said, "What happened?" I said, I told him I got some rare infection and I had to be hospitalized. So his first question was, "How are you going to afford this? You're in a hospital in Copenhagen, but it's absolutely free. Healthcare is absolutely free. It was a government hospital and probably better than most private hospitals here." But it was pretty gloomy, obviously. Tubes all over your body, looking out. And about when I got discharged, about one of the consultations, the doctor said, "If you had come 1 week late," he told my wife, "I was there, he would have been gone." Right? So when I was looking out of the window, I said, "I don't want to die like this. This is not a life, Okay, I did well. I did an MBA, I went to XIMB, and then I did IBM. That was when I was cognizant. I was doing very, very well. I was one of the top guys for the company in Europe. And I said, is it really worth it? I was traveling a lot, and because I was traveling a lot, I caught some infection on some flight or something like that. It was pretty rare, and I had to be hospitalized. And I said, I want to live, right? I want to live. And I want to live, if I survive this, I'm going to live with passion, right? Whatever I do, I'm going to give my fullest, like every moment of my life, I want to live it to the fullest and make an impact, right? Try and go after all my goals. So I took my goals even more seriously. I'd written them down already. So I've actually written down what I want to do in life, because I have problems. I read a lot, I get diverted very easily. So when I get diverted, I go back to my goal list and say, okay, this is, and it's not a goal list, it's a journey list. Like one of the things I love doing is coming and talking to all of you, talking to students, talking to professors, exchanging thoughts, exchanging ideas, right? So the key point there is in an age of uncertainty, your passion can beat anything, right? If you're really passionate about something, there's nothing in the world that you cannot achieve. You have to just go, believe in yourself, do your very best. I came out of it and I'm like fully cured, there's no chronic problems after that. And every day I think of that day, my birthday, in hospital, and not very far from death, right? So, and that can happen to anyone, right? We are all mortal beings. For the time you're around, how can you make a huge difference? So I'm sure Professor Anna and many of the faculty here will be wondering, we called him to talk about age of uncertainty, and he's an AI guy, and he's talking about selflessness, he's talking about humility, he's talking about purpose, he's talking about passion. When is he going to talk about AI? Right? So I'll give it to you. So the next topic is on AI. Right? So I would say the theme of the next topic is embrace change. Right? Don't fear uncertainty and don't fear change. Embrace it. And in that same breath, I would say embrace AI. Right? So when you go to San Francisco, you can try your luck in the driverless cars. They are Tata cars, they are Jaguar cars, run by Google, a company called Waymo. So I said, since I want to embrace change and embrace AI, I should sit in that and see what happens. So I actually sat in one of those driverless cars. It's pretty easy to book on my textbook. He was also there. And you are there in the car, and you just start the app and the car starts, right? And literally the steering wheel is turning. It's a very crowded street. So we went from our hotel to the restaurant in the driverless car. I would say better driven than most human driven cars I've been. Absolutely safe, absolutely beautifully driven, right? Didn't hit anybody, didn't hit any vehicle, didn't disobey any traffic rules. This is AI in action, guys. You know, this is actually happening on the ground. So change is very difficult. Right? So when I got to exam B, my father said, "You'll have to go by train." So I came Monarch Express, 2 days, second class, becoming 2 days from Mumbai to Bhubaneswar. And I used to feel very sad, honestly. Right? I was leaving my parents, and I'm South Indian, so I was wondering, what is this? I'm going to Orissa and eating all these brinjals and, you know, all this stuff, and I used to be very sad. And I had a batchmate called Vinay Chak, right? And he was always happy. So I said, no, he was also from Bombay. So we were like seen as the Bombay guys. And yes, you know, I asked him, boss, how are you happy? We're going to Bhubaneswar, and you know, how can you feel happy about it, you know? So he said, see, you have no option. Your father's put you here, right? You better accept it. And you embrace it. You look forward to it. So I started doing that. I said, let me forget my sadness for a minute. And let me actually embrace this. Let me get into it. I said, okay, let me do my best. And then, you know, so I got into Maxims, and I remember Maxims more than my exam because I spent so much time in Maxims. It was fantastic learning. So all of you joining all these 20 committees, like Arya was telling me, there are 20 committees, 19 or 20 committees. That's a very good thing, you know. I learned more from Maxims than from, I'm sorry to say that, right? So let's talk about AI a bit. Now, there are people feeling that AI is overhyped, right? When I was in San Francisco in June, I attended 2 conferences, one from Snowflake and one from Databricks. Can you imagine how many people came to that? Krish, how many people came to Snowflake conference? Just take a guess, attendees. Take a quick guess. Rapid fire. 200. Okay. Sorry? Few hundreds. Okay. Any other guesses? Francis, sir? No. It's not. There were humans there. Yeah. More than 1,000. More than 1,000. Yeah. Father, any guesses? 20,000 people. Each of those conferences. 20,000 people. And all had serious AI solutions. All super excited about AI. No fear in the room. No fear at all. Everybody is going seriously about it after innovation. Seriously after making AI work. Right? This is the real world. Now in the US, it's very difficult to find 20,000 people in any one location. Because if you walk on the road, usually you don't find anybody around. Right? But you have people teaming, so many different companies, and all sorts of companies there, and all fantastic solutions, right? So this is real, guys. This is not a hype. This is real. I attended 2 conferences in 15 days. Each of them had 20,000 people. So there was a room where the Snowflake CEO, Sridhar Ramthamshi, was addressing 2,000 people in that room, or probably even bigger, right? So this is real stuff. Now, how do you really make it work is what they were discussing. They were not discussing should we do AI, should we not do AI. So how do you make it work? The first thing you look at is your data ready? Is the data right quality? Do you have the right governance? Do you have the right skills? They're talking about how to make it work. right? And how to scale it, how to take it all over the globe, how do we take it across all our clients, right? So, see the stuff. Now, Sol Rashidi, she was the first chief AI officer, and I've been in touch with her and then spoken to her a few times and connected to her on LinkedIn. She has a very beautiful explanation of why do you do AI? Why AI? So she talks about the 4 Ds. So if you take a dangerous task, like drone warfare, it's fully driven by AI. It's a dangerous task. You don't want to put humans there. You want to take a dull task, searching some websites, summarizing a few things, doing some basic customer service. Very dull, mundane activities, you use AI. Dirty tasks, or hazardous tasks, you're dealing with some industrial chemicals or very complex construction scenarios, you can use AI, robotics. And very difficult tasks, which is massive data processing at scale. These are classic use cases of why you use AI, right? And you don't even have to think. And people are doing it, guys. This is not some, some dream that I'm trying to sell or promote. This is happening in real life. And where is the AI industry going? People are going from building just models to building agents, right? Instead of doing automation of processes, they are building autonomous workflows. Like I give you the driverless car example. It's a fantastic example of autonomy. Just looking at data and building data lakes to helping clients and helping companies make decisions very quickly. So moving from data to decisions. That is where AI is going. Now, how do you really make AI work? Because adoption is very hard, right? There's a lot of excitement, but when you get down to the basics, there's a lot of serious hard work to do. You have to align to the business. You have to focus on building the processes, build foundations. Most importantly, start small, don't try to do something complex, and build very fast, right? So right here in India, Tiger Analytics is doing fantastic work with large steel companies, right? Large media companies, doing exactly the kind of work which we'll do anywhere else in the world. The use cases that we do. So, for example, one of the large steel plants in India, we predict plant failure much before it happens using all the predictive analytics in the AI. It saves them 1 crore a day if the plant does not shut down, right? So, we work with governments and we work with academic institutions also. So, the kind of work that is happening right here in India is, and not only Tiger, I'm part of NASSCOM also, as you know, the kind of deep tech innovation happening is simply outstanding. So Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, he says the future will belong to those who can use AI effectively rather than those who shun AI, right? So it's very important for you to recognize that change, and it lets you do what you do best as a human, right? And the beautiful part of this batch and the batches to come is that you all are AI natives, right? You all have started using AI just like I used to use a calculator from, right? It's very second nature for you. It's not something unnatural. So your learnability and your AI is much more higher, right? So then the questions could be that, okay, AI is going to do all this, what are humans going to do? Right? Like Francis sir was saying, only AI agents are the conference. What do humans do? Right? What can humans do if AI is going to do a lot of things? So clearly creativity. Jobs which require high level of creativity cannot be replaced ever by AI. Jobs which require deep understanding of human emotions and relationships, right? Cannot be replaced by AI. Ability to connect the dots across multiple fields. So, for example, one of our top consulting leaders, he was solving a problem for a food and beverage industry, trying to help him predict what could be emerging ingredients that could be needed in foods. And he's actually a very good musician. So there is a technique in music called dynamic time graphing. And he was able to connect that we can actually use that technique in this particular use case. It was never done anywhere else in the world. Tiger was one of the first companies to do that. He connected music to a use case in the food and beverages industry. So that's the beauty of the human brain, right? The connecting the dots that happens. So, you have jobs in leadership, taking decisions in high levels of uncertainty. So the human brain has a billion neurons. No chip or no supercomputer can ever replace that, right? How do those neurons interact and take decisions? Replicated by any AI, right? So jobs in leadership, jobs in sales, project management, people management, marketing, solutioning, architecting, relationship management, domain consulting, research. These jobs are going to be there, but you will have to use AI, right? You can't run away from it. You will have to embrace it, right? These jobs are going to be there. Sam Altman says it's the best time to be a 22-year-old. Is there any 22-year-old? Oh, there are quite a few. My goodness. Wow. The best time ever to be a 22-year-old. Because you can start a billion-dollar company with just one person. The rest of the work is being done by AI. Right? It's possible. This is Sam Altman saying that. Right? He's actually made it happen. And there's an explosion of entrepreneurial ideas happening, right? So I talked about AI agents, which is nothing but, think about a travel agent. So you don't do all the searching and the finding, and you just want to say, I want to go from A to B, roughly this time, this, convenience level, right? An AI agent can just do it, just like. So you can take a vertical, take a horizontal, take a function, specialize in that, build an AI agent, and you're in business. That's the beauty of today's world, right? You don't need an army of coders to run your company, right? And each of you can be an entrepreneur and be very successful, right? Which also, brings me to the question of identity, right? So I understood that two girls, Sneha and Disha, wrote this brief for the keynote, and they put everything and anything that you can think about in modern management lingo into that document. So they talked about identity also. So your personal branding becomes very important, right? And all of you are already very good at social media branding and putting yourself out there. That becomes very important because companies may not be very large. Companies might become very small. A lot of the work, the 4D work might be done by AI agents, right? So I've now given you what you want, right? You all wanted to know what is the latest happening in the world of uncertainty, and I can tell you, as Tiger, we are one of the leading AI companies in the world now, right? So typically, though we are still a mid-sized kind of setup, we compete with some of the best in the world. Whether you take Deloitte or Accenture or TCS or the Big Four or Big Five, we compete with all of them, and we are able to beat them in many of the deals, right? So don't worry about the age of uncertainty and leading at the edge and all that. Some of those foundational principles I gave you, plus being very focused, being very agile, right? Getting to know what's going to happen in the real world. There's no reason why you should not succeed, right? Now, how do you put all of this together? I've given you some silos, right? How am I doing on time, sir? I'm good. Another 10 minutes. Yeah. So, how do you put all of this together, right? And now I'll talk about culture. I think if you are to get all of this together, principles. Now, what is culture? Culture is a shared value which is constantly exhibited and very naturally day to day. Right? You create that kind of a culture in an organization so that you constantly do the right thing. You make complex decisions, right? And you're able to get it right. So when I graduated out of XIMB, Professor Kamala Mathur was the dean. So I went and asked her, and I had not worked before, I was a fresher when I came in. What do you look for in a job? So she gave me a framework, framework. Said in any job you look at learning, earning, and growth. Right? And I added an S to that. Is the spirit. Is your spirit really in the job? Are you excited about what you are doing? You know, are your value systems aligned with the value systems of the company? Right? So I would call it the LEGS framework. And at Tiger, I'm also responsible for sort of formulating, articulating, and exhibiting the culture of the company. So, Professor Ramana asked me that you named the company Tiger Analytics, culture very tigerish. So honestly, the name came in very interestingly. That we had a very complex name. I forgot what was the initial name. I think it was some Insights Lab or something. So when the founder was visiting his mother or his grandmother somewhere in Bihar, she said, "I don't know what your company does, but your name is unrecognizable, right? Why don't you keep something interesting?" So apple was taken, and so was mango. So he picked India's national animal at that time. That's the simple reason of why Tiger Analytics came in. So we are not jungly tigers or something like that. So the kind of culture we created. So we try to think what is the culture of the company, and what kind of culture is like a river. You know, you can't say put a slide deck saying this is the culture of the company. Follow it, right? Every new person walking in will change the culture of the company. You know, so like a river which is going across, it will hit some rocks, so you have to adapt. Similarly, people, change. You know, people see the movies, people travel, people change. You know. So how do you formulate that culture of the company so that we can live in the age of AI where you get up in the morning? Honestly, I get up in the morning worried. Today, what is going to hit us? You know, what new revolution is going to happen which I don't know about, right? And that's how anxious we get up, honestly. So we came up with a framework which I would call as Tigers, right? So the T stands for teamwork. So who is the most popular movie star in the room? So let's pick any movie stars you guys like. Let's just name some. Shah Rukh Khan is one, okay. Salman Khan. Okay. Rajnikant, okay. Are you from Tamil Nadu? Okay. Rajnikant is God. I don't know if he is a star. Yeah. Anybody else? Amitabh? No ladies. I love Deepika Padukone. Yeah. Sorry? Ram Charan. Okay. So, if you were the Ram Charan, what's your name?
My name is Shreya.
Okay. So Shreya, if you were the Ram Charan of AI, and we have these kind of heroes, who can do data science, who can do data engineering, who can talk very well, who can tell stories, I will not hire you. That's exactly why I picked up that example. Is teamwork, collaboration, conflict management? You can sit down. Yeah. It's very, very critical in our business. So I say that there are these 5 Ds. So but if you are a humble Ram Charan, I don't know how Ram Charan is, but if he's a humble guy, then I might consider you. So if you are the Ram Charan of data science who's humble enough to know I know data science, but I don't know data engineering, I will work with the Ram Charan of data engineering, right? And the Rajnikant of data engineering will work with the Deepika Padukone of domain consulting. And the Deepika Padukone of domain consulting will work constructively with the Shah Rukh Khan of design thinking, right? And the Shah Rukh Khan of design thinking will work constructively with the fifth D, which I call the data storytelling, the Tom Cruise of data storytelling or whatever, right? So it's very important teamwork. So somebody interviewed Sundar Pichai and asked him, what do you do 50% of your time? What do you do? And he says, conflict management. He doesn't say AI and quantum computing and all that. He says, there's so many smart people at Google that they keep fighting with each other. So his main job is to make them work together, right? And interestingly, I was telling my that I feel very good because that's what I do. Yeah. We are such smart people at Tiger. Then obviously there's intellectual fighting, right? And that is for a good reason, but then somebody has to make them all work. So teamwork skills, collaboration, so that's very central in our culture. Of AI, I won't have, unless you're humble. Right? So that's the first key. The next comes to impact, I for impact, right? So let me give you an example. We did a $200,000 project for a Fortune 50 food and beverage manufacturer, helping them identify new businesses using the data out there, using AI. Just take a guess of what is the X value that they get. 2x, 3x. Any quick guesses? 5x? 3x. The ladies there? Any other guesses? Yeah, please. 20x. 10x.
150x.
Sorry?
150x.
150x. I like the ambition. Then?
3x.
Sorry?
3x.
50x. 1 million x. That's the magic of AI. $200 billion for a $200,000 project. That is the magic of what we do, right? That's why the industry is growing. And the thing is, we've given them the code, so they're still running the code. And I think the value must be much, much higher. So that's the impact that we are creating. Sitting right here in India, of course, we are a global company, we work across the world. The impact, that's the magic. We get up in the morning, get to work, you know you're going to make a big impact. It's not just on clients, on people. So one philosophy which I've been trying to follow is be outrageously valuable to clients and to people. It should be outrageous. So during COVID, in our culture we said, if you have COVID or your family, somebody has COVID, no questions asked. We not count the leave. We not count the leave as part of it. And we are a self-funded startup, right? We don't have any investors. We pre-IPO. Self-funded. So a lot of us have put in our own money in the company. Said you take your time off. And some people started coming up faster. Some people also said, oh, some of the leaders felt, oh, people can abuse the system. What we found is people came back to work faster. In fact, we had to tell them that you have COVID, don't come back and work. They said, no, I have nothing else to do. I'm not feeling so bad. I'm working from home anyway. People were so happy. There was a promotion had come up, and she was on maternity leave. And there was one group just saying she's on maternity leave anyway. She's going to come back 6 months later. So let's promote her when she comes back. But the co-founder said, no, she deserves this promotion right now. We promote her right now. Right? So, impact. A to uncertainty, focus on outrageous value. Don't focus on 1x, 2x, 1 million x. Think like that. And there was one ambitious guy who said 150. Was you? Yeah. Think 1 million x. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So the next is G, the tigers, the G's, get a life. So one of our VCs, one of the potential VCs, he had come down to Chennai and we were having a discussion. We were asking our CEO, how many hours do you guys work in a week? Typical US VC, right? And the CEO said, probably 40 hours, probably 48 hours. He almost fell off. He said, I thought you were going to say like Elon Musk, 120 hours or 70 hours a week. 40 hours. He said, I have worked here 10 years. I lead almost 85% of the business along with some of my other leaders. I can put my hand on my heart and say, I work 3 weekends. Weekends are off. We try to ensure that people get enough time to recoup, to live your life, so that when you come to work, you're doing work with full passion, right? So coming to the E, we call it empathy. So I had one of the clients who were coming to Hyderabad, and she said, she's a very strict client. She said, when you come and meet, get the NDA and send me a customized deck before you come and meet. And I was busy. I sent my top sales guy. He did not take the NDA, and he sent her the wrong deck. Went for some other client, and she was blasted, and within 10 minutes the meeting was over. And within half an hour, I got a long resignation note from the guy saying, "I let you down. I'm really sorry." And I said, "That's fine. Things happen in life. I know the guy was working hard. Then it was a mistake." I said, "We'll figure out how to get back." I went back to the client and said, "We're really sorry. How can we cover up? We're really, very sorry." And she actually was willing to listen. But the point here I'm making is of kindness. Kindness is very important in the age of uncertainty. How do you keep your people? Right? These are fundamental values, guys. These are fundamental values. If you're not kind with your people, why would they work with you? Right? That's the E. The R is for research and learning, which I don't want to say. Learning is very, very embedded in the culture of Tiger, and I think without learning all the time. So we have at least 2 hours of learning live every week happening, right? Every week, and you can do more. So in AI, it's almost impossible. And the S comes for simplicity. We try to keep things as simple as possible, and that's the power. You can be very fast if you keep things simple. So we get complex contracts, we return it back to the client in 24 hours. The client sometimes comes back to us and says, "Have you even read this contract?" I said, "No, we just 2-3 red lines. Because we want to keep it simple, we want to keep moving." Right? So simplicity is actually underrated in business and in life, as our CEO talks about all the time. And it helps you when things are uncertain. Take a simple decision, take it quickly. Right? So I've talked about humility, I've talked about selflessness, I've talked about purpose, talked about passion, talked about AI, and I've talked about culture. Right? I'll just take 2 more minutes to say something which I believe is very, very important, and probably a nice conclusion to what I've just said, right? And let's go to London. I was in a conference with, it was a typical AI conference, all technical and complex presentations. And then they finally called a guest speaker, and he was Johnny Wilkinson, who's like the Sachin Tendulkar of English rugby, right? He's one. Anybody heard of him? Oh, you heard. This guy he's the guy who answered that question from Father. Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Shubhraji Bhattacharya.
Excellent. You seem to be very well informed. So Johnny Wilkinson was talking about winning the World Cup. And the next morning he's having breakfast in the hotel. People are coming, he's signing the autographs, people taking pictures with him. He was saying, "I'm feeling empty. I'm feeling there's nothing left in my life. I've achieved the biggest goal that I wanted to achieve. There's nothing left." So he was saying that he almost went into depression after that. He achieved his goals. And he said, after that I said, "I have nothing left to prove to anybody." So one of the biggest principles he gave is that just be in life. Just be alive. Just be in the moment. And don't get worked up about deadlines and assignments and placements, and just live your life, right? And if I can extrapolate that further, I would say that many of you are going to be very, very successful in various ways. I'm not just talking financially. It could be various ways, right? But when you are successful, don't forget 2 things. Don't forget to be grateful to exam B, to the faculty, to the parents, to the ecosystem which got you there, to the security guards, right? If they don't secure the gates, we can't sit peacefully and have this conference here, right? So don't forget to be grateful. Right? And lastly, I would say, don't forget to give back. there are thousands and millions of people in India and around the world struggling for bare necessities, right? And the satisfaction that you will get by giving will be much more than any satisfaction you get by getting. Thank you.
Wonderful. That was Anand. No wonder that you are the highest salary figure of batch. And you said that I like one thing about 1 million X. Please.
No, I'm good, sir.
Okay, 1 million X. Oh. Now I picked up a style from Anand. Imagine that 1990 February, okay, when I got my paycheck, 3,000 rupees, okay, and move forward, 2025, my salary got up to 90 times, okay, but at the same time, I met my friend on the other side of the road. He was my partner, okay, and we became friends. And he was charging me 5 rupees at the time. And I've shared this several times with my students also, which is more economics there. So he used to charge 5 rupees. And now with lots of difficulty, lots of persuasion, he charges 30 rupees. So he, 30 years time, 5, he charges 6 times. And his ability to serve with age, because he has one son, I have son, we are all of same age, so his ability to provide service might have gone down. But his income has gone up by 6 times, my income has gone by 90 times. Now the question is, can AI do anything to bridge the gap between Professor Ramana and Deepak? I don't know. So, so in that context, 1 million X is mind-boggling now. I also asked a question to our batch, this current batch. What is the cost of the class time? Because now you have to think about, now with Anand's larger presentation, you have to think about 25 lakh rupees is the money you spent, what X you're going to get. That's wonderful. I'm sure that your journey right from Mumbai to Boston and a fantastic combination of AI with humility, with humane aspects of life, I'm sure it was a learning experience. I'm sure one thing might have made very happy Father Anthony Rams, So he might have realized that he's exactly doing what Sundar Pichai is doing. Day in and day out, he's doing conflict management, okay? And I just want to drop in a data to say that before AI, what our students used to do, as I say, for me, the world is exciting only. 1996, okay? When we started our power sector reforms, CESCO is to serve 1.5 million customers. No AI. But 5 persons sitting at the corner of near the science school, there is an organization called SLDC, State Load Dispatch Center. So if you walk into his office, so there were terminals all around, 15 terminals. At any point of time, he was aware where is the power generated and where is the power going. So 1 million customers were actually more or less tracked. May not be real time, but you'll be surprised to know every 15 minutes we were getting data sitting in the headquarters. Where is the power coming from and where is the power going to? Now, after listening to Anand, I will just go and check what is happening in SLDC today. I'm talking about 25 years back, with the conventional old terminals, we are able to track every minute, every 15 minutes, the inflow of power there. The complexity of data, the complexity of analysis, and the most important part, that 10 people who joined Pricewaterhouse in 96, 97, they're actually the leaders of power sector today. So I say that three things are common with respect to the power leaders of the country: XIMB, Bhubaneswar, and Pricewaterhouse. Maybe your juniors and seniors, yeah, there is this and all. So now I leave it to you. It's an open conversation now. Please raise your question, introduce yourself. He knows that you're all from XIM. You don't have to say that I'm XIM this batch. Just give your name and ask questions. Okay?
Yeah.
So is NI is not going to use AI. We want you to use NI. You know that? Yeah, that's right. Please. Over to you guys.
Yeah. Happy to take a few questions.
Good morning, sir. My name is Raj, and my question is, you mentioned that as a human being, how can we incorporate creativity and emotion in the work in this AI field? So my question is, as future business leaders, what are your advices for us that how can we use our creative insights in our work to drive a growth in this industry?
Very, very good question. So, have you read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, one of the best things I learned in exam is to read a lot of books. So, a lot of our profs used to recommend. And by the time when I joined exam, there were no laptops, no mobiles, no internet. Right? So, in that book, he actually says that, of course, he's talking about making money, right? He says, making money is not just about working hard. It's about thinking between your ears, right? You have to use your brain. Right? Each of us has, so De Bono talks about a lot of creative risk. Each of us has various kinds of intelligence, right? Some people have mathematical intelligence, some people have ability to draw well, some people sing well, people are able to work with different people. Different people have different kinds of intelligence. I would say, now I'm going a bit lateral, that probably you need to meditate. You need to sit quietly in a room without your mobile and think about what is your creative instinct. What is it that you're good at, right? And everybody has creative. And then figure out how to bring it to your work, to your jobs. And I'm telling you, the kind of impact you can make will be huge, because see, this is something that AI cannot do. What does AI do is pick up a lot of data from the past, pick up a lot of patterns that we are teaching them, and then replicate it, right? Of course, there is new science coming around non-determinism and all that. But if a human being can understand what he is creative at, understand what kind of emotions are you good at handling, right? So I recently read a book which is not famous. I just found the book in a particular article, and my wife has banned physical books in my home because there are too many books and I have not yet arranged them very well. She said no more physical books, so I got it on the Kindle, right? So it is simply called Getting Along by a Harvard business editor called Amy Gallo. And I was wondering, why did I wait for 27 years to read this? So she says getting along is not something that you will simply learn by becoming experienced. It is a skill, right? How can you get along with somebody you don't agree with them, but you can still get along with them, right? So these things AI cannot do. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Feel free to, so anybody can reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me direct invites. I know Aman and some other people have told you not to do that, but you can do that, It is just that I may not be able to respond very fast, but you can send me direct LinkedIn invites, So yeah. Yeah?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? So that Ram Charan guy, yeah. Shriyankar, right? Or Shriyakar? Yeah. He looks a bit like Ram Charan. But without the mustache. Yeah. Do you have a mic?
Good morning, sir. My name is Shankar Mahapatra. As you mentioned, you came across a term called MCP and you were concerned about it and how it is the next big thing. So could you share some insight about what MCP is, because we are also hearing about it for the first time.
Okay. So essentially, in the good old days, there are two different applications, right? It took very experienced coders to understand each of the applications, understand the tech stack, and figure out how to integrate them. That could take months, right? It could take years. So imagine there are companies go and buy a lot of software, and eventually they find that one software is not talking to the other one. You have to integrate. It's called application integration, right? Now, what MCP does is writes a small JSON, which at a very simple level, it's a text-based description of what is inside that application, right? And by sending a text message to the other application, you can just extract what is most important from that application and give it to your AI to deal with that, right? So it's a very simple way of integrating multiple applications without spending months and years. Or very useful in AI because increasingly companies are saying, I don't have time to integrate everything. Can you create a system where I can pull out data, the most important data from different applications, and make a decision? So finally, you're focused on making a decision. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's testing my AI knowledge. I like that. Yeah. Let's go to somebody else. Okay, let's go to the last fellow. The guts to be a backbencher. Yeah. Go there. Yeah. The person there. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. My name is Pratham Agarwal. And sir, this question is related to the healthcare industry in the United States. Sir, like many of my relatives who live there, they come to India for treatment because they feel the healthcare there is not that good. And we all know there is deficit of manpower in the United States. So how will AI integrate its ability to converse the talent AI has with the healthcare industry, and how will people take it? Because healthcare industry being very fragile, a lot of people have trust issues in doctors even. So how will people behave?
Understand. So my sister is a doctor, so in US. So I did ask her that, do you think AI is going to take away your job someday? And she uses a lot of AI, by the way, right? So just like ChatGPT, I forget the exact name, but they have a GPT for the doctors, right? So when she's talking to the patients, things are getting transcribed, right? The summary is coming back to her. She's getting recommendations of personalized medicines, right? So we know the history of the patient. You're getting recommendations as to which drugs could have which side effects. You're getting recommendations of alternative drugs which could be cheaper, right? Alternative medicines which could be cheaper. It's, for example, if you take what a radiologist does, he looks at a lot of X-rays and says, okay, out of 100 X-rays, he might say 10 of them there's a problem, but the 90 of them is certified, right? Now AI can take up to 90% of his job, wherein what was regular patterns that he's observing, and it's already happening. What I'm saying is not some dreamy stuff. All of this is happening on the ground, right? Hospitals are using a lot of sensors to quickly predict what the patient. If patients leave the hospital, there is we built an FDA to figure out if patients are off medicines. Probably we need to give them a reminder. So the US is very, the best part about the US I like, they change very quickly. You give them something new, they want to try it out. Even if they fail, they embrace it very quickly. And I can tell you the US, China, taking AI very seriously. Right? They're going after it. There's no fear there. There's no fear, no fear mongering which happens. People are just saying we are going to revolutionize treatment. We are going to revolutionize the world with what is happening. So I think the cost of treatment might actually come down, right? The number of patients handled will be more. The personalization of the medicines will be much more. It's the number of use cases in healthcare is unlimited. Does that help you out?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Let me see. Let me go to the girl at the back there.
Very good morning, sir. My name is Ritika Ramanathan. So my question is that as students, a lot of us right now, I would say are under slight pressure to not just carve out a career from now on, but also life in general to like create a personality in these 2 years and things like that. So my question is, you told about the island example. So it came to my mind that how is it currently in the situation that we are? Can we go ahead and look at a life that's not just materialistically aiming at success, but also deeply rooted in meaning in terms of career and life in general? So, yeah, that's my question.
Beautiful question. Amazing. Deepika, right? Ritika. Amazing. Yeah. I must be honest that I'm not very skilled at answering these very it's very complex for me to answer for you. So you might want to take it up. I think it's finding meaning in life is not easy. So I give you that near-death example. And it makes you think that one day you're going to not be around, right? What do you want to do when you're around? Why God sent you to earth? Right? Why are you alive? Why are you in this room? And nothing happens by chance, nothing happens by chance. You're in this room, in this institute for some meaning, right? See, I'm not very good at visualizing things, but what I do is simplify is write down. You write down a lot of diversions over here. And write down what you ask me, you write down. And you try to write down yourself. What are some people who you trust will not reveal it to the whole world and put it up on social media? But it's a very complex question. And just to make you feel better, a lot of people who are in their 50s and 60s are not figured it out, right? So it's not something that you just say, okay, I want to be this and make it happen. You have to go after things, but that's the biggest career advice I always give, is that you are responsible for your life. Nobody is going to fix it for you. Your parents, your friends, all of that will help. But you have to figure out what is the meaning of your life. What have you come to earth for? What do you want to achieve? You are happy. So I don't wish people happy new year anymore. I say make it a happy new year. You have to make it happiness. You have to really put your effort and say, how do I make it happen? Plan for it. Go after it. Use all your MBA skills of planning to find meaning in it.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good question. Wait, I'll hold on. Yeah. So I hope I'm not sounding like some Baba.
Good morning, sir. My name is Kushali Shah. My question is that since what I have understood until now is that reading is absolutely important, even if you want to stay fresh or stay updated. But the problem with our generation, or particularly me, is that there's a very low. For example, I've been trying to read newspaper regularly for a very long time, but I haven't been successful in doing so.
90 seconds at attention span.
Very low. So, how do you guys, or how do you manage to develop that discipline of reading and having so much patience in general?
Having so much
Patience.
patience.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, when I grew up, there was no internet, there was no phone, there was no laptop, there was no Instagram. So I actually, like to read. It gives me a lot of joy. In fact, I try to read for about half an hour, 1 hour before I go to bed. And I feel very happy and I can read on anything. How do you build that discipline? Well, for me, it is a bit something that I enjoy doing, right? So I used to start on the 9 a.m. because I was saying one of my batchmates, the exam was good because we started early. He said, no, Anand, we never came for the 9 a.m. lecture. How do I do that? I never realized to make nice. So really started early. So I learned a technique, that one good technique of getting up early is to what really love first thing in the morning, right? I like to read. So I pick my favorite book and put an alarm. And as soon as I sleep, I'll say, okay, let me get up and do something exciting today. Right? So, but reading books and trying to take notes and so they all leaders are great readers, right? There's no easy way. I don't know. You'll have to struggle. There's no easy way. I think try to keep your phone as far away as possible, right? The phone is a huge. In fact, Steve Jobs would not give the iPhone to his own children. Do you know that? Because he believes this is an extreme. There's a whole book on this subject called Hooked, right? That the way some of these phones and some of these social media are designed is you're hooked to it. You can't come out of it. There's neuroscience there, right? Keep it away. You will struggle. Read one page, one line. Say, I'm not going to go out of the room, right? And read what you enjoy. You don't need to read management. I read a lot of literature, actually. Yeah. I read what I like to read, and it gives me a lot of joy. I know all the girls are asking very difficult questions. Yeah. No, I answered that question, but yeah. Does that help? Yeah. And this library of Excite, I spent a lot of time here. The fantastic library we have here. So in my last trimester, I had only one subject left. I finished all the subjects. So I went to Professor Govindrajan and said, what do we do? So my father had said, no girlfriends, so there was no question. So he gave me a list of 20 books to read, right? And I read about 15 of them when I was here, those 3 months. And after reading that, I was wondering, why did I pay so much money? Because you learn so much from the books, but Excite is not about just books and all of that. It's the peer learning, it's the networking, it's the ideas of people like me. And as I said, don't take me too seriously, but think about all these ideas. Anyway, long answer, but I hope
It makes sense.
How are we doing on time? Oh, yeah. You decide. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's go to this man. He's really like into stuff. 150x. I remember. You don't need to wear your button.
Good morning, sir. My name is Shah. So my
okay.
So my question is very domain specific on marketing. That as you are seasoned expert in marketing as well as sales and now in AI. What I've seen is that AI is giving revolution in digital marketing with SEO and SMS, etc. But what other domains will it open in sales promotion as well as marketing in the offline areas or other areas that will come up with new generation and it is not known today in present day?
No, this is pretty huge. So, for example, you know that many large FMCG companies send salespeople to the store, right, and ask them to see whether their products are assorted in the right places, the right quantities, and at the right level in the display, right? So there's a salesman who actually goes to the store and says, okay, my biscuit packet has to be kept here, and you have to put buy one get one free this way and all that. All of that can be done by AI, right? So you just need to take a picture and send it to the application. And so now what does the salesperson do, right? So the salesperson goes and engages with the store manager and says, what more can I do, right? Because the promotion is happening automatically. So he would probably tell him this promotion is not working very well. Probably we should do some online triangulation along with this offline thing, right? So a lot of basic human intelligence, which is a very simpler task, are going to be done by AI, right? But something like the person who saw this promotion, did he go and buy online? Right? How do I know that this promotion didn't work offline but it worked online? Right? So these are some of these interesting use cases that are coming up. The biggest is certainly mass personalization. Right? So one of the interesting marketing use cases we did for a large credit card company is they were spending $25 million on online digital marketing, and they were getting very few conversions, very few people actually buying their credit card. So you won't believe, we created 10,000 segments, 10,000 customer segments, right? Each segment we said the ad has to be different, the promotion has to be different, the card has to be different, right? For you, and their conversions tripled after we did that work, right? So Netflix, now, if you like Sholay, right? Have you heard of Sholay? Okay, not too bad. If you like Sholay and you like Gabbar Singh, when Netflix promotes their ad for you, it will show Gabbar Singh, right? But if I like Dharmendra, it will show me Dharmendra, right? So how do they know this? They use mass personalization. So they literally have an algorithm for every client of theirs, every customer of Netflix. They build an algorithm which personalizes the experience. Right? So marketing analytics is the number one application of AI, right? Because marketing people usually have money to spend. They can afford us also. So the number one application is marketing, media spend, right? So now you can simply give us the media data of a company, write a simple ChatGPT code, and it will tell you which media should you invest how much, right? But then creating that ad, making that difference. So as I said, the human creativity, the human emotions, and the human ability to connect the dots, that is probably one of the highest in marketing, right? So creativity, so humanity is the number one sales requirement. Humanity, and Francis was saying a lot of you are not necessarily coming from the engineering background, which is fantastic, right? Because what can be done by basic engineers will be done by AI, right? So of course, everybody will have to learn, everybody will have to read up. You will have to be a bit crazy about learning. I've given you a bit of a long answer, but did that help? Okay, thanks. I can take more if you want. I am also excited about questions. So there are about 7-8 questions. So you want to give Okay, we go for the last row. Who's in the last row? That person there. Yeah, you. I like the back benches a lot. I used to be a front bencher.
Good morning, sir. My name is Shri Nahari. And my question is that you highlighted how AI can never replace human creativity. But human brain needs to be trained, and that training takes place throughout their life. But in this age where information is present at our fingertips and ideas also. So how does this training, which made each and every one of us distinct, ultimately hamper because of AI making due to that overdependence?
It's a brilliant question. She's written it down in the true. Human creativity probably does get impacted by using too much of AI, too much of automation and all that. But I am very hopeful, I'm very hopeful that that at some point, you will say, I don't want to take, for example, I decided not to use any slides today, and interestingly, most of my slides are made by AI now. So AI can put a whole deck together for me, So many of our proposals are automated. But did you enjoy this vis-a-vis seeing something? Slide presentation? What do you think? Did you like my stories?
Yes, sir.
You're allowed to say no. Yeah. So, because I think, they say that facts tell, stories tell, right? Probably you remember those stories for the rest of your life, right? And it was not easy on me also, right? Because I'm reading and playing and talking about AI all the time. And somewhere your mind becomes like a robot, And you're absolutely right. It's a very, very good question. You have to make the effort, is what I would say. I don't think there's an easy answer to that. You have to make the effort that you don't become a robot, right? That you unleash your human creativity as much as you can. And I would say this, that the more you try to put yourself, and somebody talked about personal identity and personal branding, and the more you start doing that, you will see that you're actually infinite. The number of Swami Vivekananda talks about it. Every person has infinite capabilities. It just has to be unleashed, right? So I'm very hopeful. So don't worry about it. So do what I told somebody else. If you're phone away and 1 hour a day, try to do something creative, and you'll be surprised by what you can do. Is that right?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. We take one more question. The person on the last bench there. Yeah, you, the guy in the middle. Yeah. I can still take your question also. Yeah.
My name is Sachin Das. So, the rate at which currently AI is evolving and growing, it's becoming more autonomous and intelligent day by day. So, my question is, what is the risk that we lose the ability to control the AI? And as future business, how can we ensure the safety and security of human values?
Very, very good question again. So first of all, most AI, in fact all of AI, I would say, is written and programmed by humans, right? If you don't understand something, it is just that you don't have the intelligence to figure out what is it really happening. There was this thing about deep learning. They used to say that we don't know what it's going to give up. So there's a whole stream of field called explainable AI, right? So when you work with companies tell them that I should be able to figure out what the code is doing, right? It should be explainable. There is a bit of a risk that that it might become autonomous and try and do something crazy, but the risk is very low. The thing is, anything in life has risk. So if you're not willing to embrace it, the whole world is embracing it. The whole world is going after it. So you'll have to take a bit of risk there, but I would say that, and there are a whole host of data scientists and AI scientists we have who can practically analyze any code and tell you what it's going to do, right? And especially financial services companies, they're very serious that you can't give me a piece of AI code which I cannot explain to my auditor or to my legal analyst, because they get sued for it, right? So you've written some AI program to underwrite some policies, and if you're not able to prove why you underwrote those policies and you rejected some other policies, then you can be sued for it, right? So in business to business sales, it's important, right? Typically people don't allow it, but overall, I wouldn't worry about that risk too much at this stage. I would say as much as possible try to explain what it is doing, and there are people. It just requires some more effort, some more hard work, and I wouldn't worry about that risk vis-a-vis games. So, and this happens a lot. A lot of fear mongering around AI. and the result of that is you don't focus on the good things. You focus on all the wrong things, saying, oh, it's making all these fake videos and all that. It's also doing a lot of good criminal identification of faces. Right? It's fantastic what it's happening on the ground. Like I was telling the other speaker, saying, if somebody is sleeping in the exam class, if there are cameras now, you can feed it to the AI and it'll tell you this person was sleeping and can send a bill to his father. So, so that's a good application, I would say. Does that help? Yeah.
Thank you.
There was one more enthusiastic guy. Finish the question. Yeah, this last question. But you can always ask questions later. He stood up, so I'll give it to him.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. My name is Vedant Singh. So, first of all, thank you for the story about Sundar, which I think most of us can now say relate to it at a certain extent about conflict management. So, my question is very simple: is how do you get good at it? Because it's not just about choosing the person who's right. It's also about managing the person who's wrong. But actually, those two people have to work together. So, how do you manage this conflict in terms of workplace?
Very, very good question. Is it I can see that. Yeah. There is a principle in sales we use, and I use that in conflict management also. Is even if two people are fighting, there will be something common. Both of them must have gone to exam, right? Or both of them must be, from one particular town, or both of them may have fathers who are bankers. So we use that in sales a lot. What is the common ground? Because people are able to resolve conflicts or convince people who are somewhat similar to them, somebody somewhat similar. Then, so first we look at what is common. So we say actually you all have a lot of things in common, right? Then identify what is the thing which you all are fighting for, right? So first of all, once you know that there are a lot of things common, there's a less chance that you'll end up fighting with somebody. So there's a beautiful example. If you are driving your car and your car hits somebody else, right? In Bombay, no matter what suit and whatever you're wearing, you have to get out and be ready to fight the other guy, right? Because otherwise he'll hit you. So it's a very scary kind of thing. But what if you get out of the car and you find the other fellow is a friend of yours? Will you still react the same way? So similarly, if there are common ground areas, then you can have an intelligent, mature conversation. You say, let me be the adult of the room, and let me see, even if I disagree, I should not disrespect a person. Okay? There's no question of disrespect. There can be disagreement, and you can still continue to disagree, right? But as far as there's respect in that, and give and take, okay, can you walk a few steps? Can you walk a few steps? You need to have patience. Somebody talked about patience. So I think it was the HBR article or some article which says in modern conflict management, you need something called discussion stamina. You need to have stamina to keep doing discussions back and forth. Because unless you hear the other person's perspective, you can't negotiate, you can't give and take. So it's not easy, I'll try to give you some answer. But you'll have to read up some books. It's a big subject, especially in AI and companies with a lot of highly qualified, smart people. Conflict management is the biggest issue. Hope it helps.
Thanks so much.
That was great, Anand. It was wonderful. I also joined all my friends, my colleagues, my students in thanking you. You have very clearly demonstrated that there's nothing to worry at the edge, look forward, look backward, and move forward. When listening to you, I was just thinking about my management professors, management education. How will they manage this uncertainty standing at there? So my dean comes to mind at the top. Economists freeze the uncertainty by saying set it as value. Okay, all other things remain constant, what can happen? Finance professors say that market will take care of uncertainty, price will do the needful. Accounting sticks to the caution. They say that conservative. Okay, will book the losses, ignore the gains. IT, of course, build algorithms and tame the data. Okay, the marketing tests and strategy adopts. Both thrive on uncertainty. So actually, management as a combination of knowledge, I'm able to see that our subjects itself are actually, or rather we are trained to face that uncertainty. So whether there is AI or not, the one clear message that Anand has demonstrated in the last 1.5 hour, is not used. Single PPT, no, and to convey a message that ultimately thinking from, ultimately the culture, the humility, the building blocks are more important. And only you can actually embrace. So, to summarize, I would say that the edge is not the end. In fact, it's the beginning. It's a place where new journeys take shape. And I can see that at every stage he has demonstrated that. So I request all of you to join me in thanking Anand. There's a loud I have already mentioned, but I also want to really thank these two wonderful ladies, Disha and Sneha. 2 months back, maybe 1.5 months back, when they approached and told me about this theme, leading at the edge, I was on the edge of my chair. I said, are you sure you can pull it off? Disha and Sneha, that was wonderful that you created this theme for this. So I also request all of you to that's right. Okay. So now I hand it over to the
So, ladies and gentlemen, as we wrap up this thought-provoking address, it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks. On behalf of Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar, I extend heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Mr. Anand Bharadwaj, for gracing us with his presence and sharing his profound insights. His words today, rooted in courage, clarity, and conviction, perfectly captured the essence of this year's theme, leading at the edge from uncertainty to impact. So, you have not only inspired, but also inspired each one of us to lead with purpose and resilience. A sincere thank you to Professor D.V. Ramana for facilitating today's session with such finesse and insight, adding depth to the conversation. I would now request Ramana sir to kindly present a token of appreciation to our esteemed keynote speaker. Now, I would like to call upon the stage the BES team to present our speaker with a symbol of our gratitude. Also, Anand sir, we have a special surprise for you as well. For that, I would like to call upon the stage the Alumni Committee to present our keynote speaker with a token of gratitude and to officially launch Unayan, the annual Alumni magazine. A big thank you to our wonderful audience for your enthusiasm and thoughtful participation, which made the experience all the more engaging. Lastly, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the teams that worked tirelessly behind the scenes: the Alumni Committee, Career Advisory Services, Illuminatics, the Media and PR Cell, and Excellence, the Photography Committee, for their commitment and seamless coordination in bringing the summit to life. Thank you all once again. Now, I request the audience to kindly